Welcome back. Here we are at the end of our SWOT-VAC journey.
12 days.
12
We've been
days.
joining you every day for 12 days.
Every single day.
I've had to sit next to her for 12 days in a row.
Yeah, well, what do you think I've had to do all this time? Right. So hopefully you found the videos helpful. And here's the last one, of course. So we'll rewind the clock back to week 12. And that's where we covered the marketing process.
That's right. The marketing process was the first part of our week 12 lesson. And we started off looking at that, sort of going right back to the start of semester. What is marketing? What's marketing all about? And this concept of value. So this lesson really focuses on how an organisation is able to create value for the organisation. Doing it by, of course, satisfying customers, but ultimately it's about the organisation achieving its objectives. And to do that, the organisation normally follows a process.
And that process has 7 steps, and you can go through all of those 7 steps in the lesson and in your reading. But the reason we teach you these 7 steps, it's a really nice way of bringing together within the one unified framework everything we've learned throughout the semester.
As you go on, if you do choose to study a marketing major, you'll be looking at these 7 steps in much more detail in other units such as strategic marketing, marketing planning and implementation in much more detail. So we're really giving you a little bit of an insight into what's to come in future semesters here in this topic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ultimately, what marketers have to do is analyse the opportunities available to them, undertake an analysis of what's happening within the organisation, what's happening outside of the organisation, then based on that analysis, then develop plans to take the organisation into the future. And those plans ultimately revolve around those things we've been looking at over the last few weeks, the marketing mix.
Exactly.
Okay, adjusting those variables that the marketers have control over.
That's right. Well, it sounds really simple now that you put it that way. Yes. I suppose a couple of the newer concepts that came through in week 12 were that notion of which level of strategy we're working on. So that's just to give you some context of where marketers make decisions within organizations. And another new concept that came through in week 12 is that notion of that BCG growth matrix.
That's right.
Yes. So what is it? Stars, cash cows, dogs, and question marks. All those metaphors for our products.
Looking at the portfolio of products an organisation has and thinking strategically about that range of products and how to deal with each of the elements of that portfolio.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So really that, I guess to summarise and to wrap all of this up, marketers then need to implement and control their marketing efforts. So once they put into place their marketing strategy through those 4 Ps, they then need to monitor and make sure that they are achieving those objectives they set out to achieve.
Is it working, basically?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So that's really what Lesson 12 was all about, at least the first half of Lesson 12, because the second half we then went into some exam advice. And the good news is that exam advice was to help you with the exam, and of course it's not something you really have to revise and study.
Yes, there will be no questions in the exam about procedures to do with the exam. So you don't have to study that for the exam. Just be familiar with that so you're comfortable getting to the exam and doing all of those procedures, especially if it's your first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of these 12 days of SWOT-VAC, almost. Okay, because we've still got a study tip of the day and a bit of a motivational quote just to finish up, but we've really enjoyed having you here with us every day here in Moodle watching these videos.
Yes, thanks for sticking with us.
Thanks. Bye. We have one final study tip for you guys.
Yes, given that it's very close to the exam, I suppose my one tip, and that's this very important, is get enough sleep.
Exactly. I think one of the worst things you could do is to spend an all-nighter the night before the exam, not sleeping, but studying, just learning everything you possibly can. And you'll be so tired the next morning that you're really not going to perform well.
Yes, sleep is important for performing well and making sure you're in a calm and confident state of mind. So get to bed early and make sure you get enough hours before the exam.
Also make sure you're well organised. Make sure you've printed out your exam timetable, you know your seat number, where you'll be sitting. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get to the exam. You never know if there's going to be a traffic jam or a train cancellation or whatever it might be. So plenty of time, get to the exam venue very early, make sure that you're not going to be rushed. Because once again, if you're rushed, then you'll be anxious,
That's right.
stressed,
Yes.
and that will take over. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, you don't want any of these sort of last-minute interruptions or delays, messing with your game in the actual exam. So, briefly visualize all the steps you need to take for the actual exam day, and make sure all your boxes are ticked and you're well prepared to do what you need to do to get there.
So good luck. It's been great, as we said, having you here, and we've really enjoyed studying marketing with you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
good luck on the final exam.
Okay. Real pleasure having you in the unit, and best of luck as well.
Bye. B.B. King said, "The beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you." B.B. King? You sure that was B.B. King?